Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Talkin' Tunes. I am your host, Frank Walsh. Thanks for tuning in today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, I always try to bring you some of the best entertainment that I can get a hold of. And today, you are not going to be disappointed. These two gentlemen on my right are well known in the Boston music scene. They've played all over New England. They've played in jams. They've played together as a group. They've played all over the place. And one of the things is that they are not only great musicians. You cannot start a sentence with these two gentlemen's name without hearing after it, wow, what a great guy. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you two members of the Steve Tobias Band. To my right, Mr. Steve Tobias himself, and to my far right, Mr. Bobby Cedrone. Hi, guys.
Hey, Frank. How's
Steve.
it going?
Pleasure.
Bobby.
It's a pleasure.
Welcome aboard.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
I know
thanks
we
for
talked
having
about this for a while. I am so happy that it finally happened.
Me too.
Yeah, so what I usually like to do to start off, for those one or two people out there who may not know who you are, is catch up a little bit. So Steve, as the leader of the Steve Tobias Band, why don't you take a look into that camera and let the folks at home know a little bit about you
Well,
and your band.
I only named it after me because I was the only one in the band, and so
Who'd have thunk?
I brought Bob in. I brought a bunch of guys in here and there, so it's always been kind of an eclectic mix. But Bob and I first started playing over 40 years ago, so there's always a great circle of talent among this group of friends, and Bob is one of the greater talents that I've played with.
Did you say great Italians?
No, you're a guitarist, and why don't you mention some of the places where you play?
I play in some of the local pubs and
Yep.
venues, and we were recently at the Marshfield Fair, so that was a lot of fun.
Yep.
And Bobby is more North Shore, right, Bob?
Well, currently, one
Yeah.
of the bands I play mostly with is up on the North Shore. Yeah.
So I want to get him to move to the South Shore, but I don't know if his family's willing to relocate. Yeah.
Well, as I say, we have two members of the band. Why don't you tell a little bit about yourself, and maybe you guys can talk a little bit about the other part of the band who couldn't make it tonight.
Sure. So we go way back through common friends. We met and doing jams, known brother and family, and I was in the band called the T. McGinnis Band, which terrorized the South Shore for years back in the '80s.
Probably played the old surf.
The old no, the surf was closed, and it was
Yeah.
what's that place? I forget the name of it now. Anyway, but we did play there. We opened for James Montgomery a couple of times down there. And we were really young then.
Still young, Bob.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from the T. McGinnis Band, kind of morphed into a band called The Urge, which we played at Ed Burke's a lot. If you
Sure.
remember Ed, great guy.
The old Mission Hill place, Ed
Great.
the legend,
Great blues guy, was
Yep.
dedicated to the music, and his bands was really good to us. And then that's how we all kind of hooked up at because this is going back to the '70s, late '70s and '80s.
Right.
The important thing to note, Frank, is that being a musician, there's very little money in it, so it's got to be a labor of love. Absolutely,
Absolutely,
a labor of
no
love.
question.
And it's all emotion and intellect. It's all got to come out together.
Absolutely. Now, you guys have been, you may have known each other for a long time, but as far as, putting a band together, I mean, that's relatively new. And, Steve, what prompted you after this time to put a band together? And with the wealth of musicians out there, how did you pick the guys whom you picked for your band?
I have a great circle of friends
You
that
do.
I've been playing with for years,
You
and,
do.
and some of them, I guess that they all go way back, over 40 years. And so when you know somebody that you can get along with really well, their head's in the right place and their fingers are in the right place musically on the guitar, so it makes it real easy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, who are other members of your band who couldn't make it today who play with you?
We have another guitar player, Pierre Spee, who is with us, and bass player, Peter Auer. My current drummer is John Farrell, but we have another drummer that sits
Right.
in, Rick Lovell, that goes back many years as well. So there's always a great pool to draw from of good friends that are also really good musicians.
Cool. Now, how would you label yourself first as an individual, as far as how you play? Your blues, your rock and roll, you play a mix. how do you classify your style of play?
Yeah, I'm a blend. I don't imitate any one musician. I'm influenced by jazz players as well as blues players as well as rock players. So I just try to put it all together and let it come out of me. How I feel at that moment. Yeah.
Did you have any formal training, or was it just pick up and play?
I really did most of it is self-taught, and I took a few lessons here and there. Guy Van Duzer was a great instructor of mine, teach me fingerstyle music. So that opened up a whole new world for me as far as musically.
Cool. What about you, Bobby?
Well, I started playing guitar. This would have been back in the 70s, early 70s, because I heard Melissa. So Greg.
Allman Brothers.
Greg is probably the biggest influence in my life, music-wise, singing and the voice, and his brother Dwayne, of course.
Sure.
The Allman Brothers Band.
Yep.
But Van Morrison, Clapton, just, you got to listen to those guys.
All the gods.
The list goes on and on.
You can't go wrong if you pick that stuff up.
Yeah.
Stevie
So
Ray.
each of you has your own individual style. There's nobody that you can say that maybe your influence from the Allman Brothers. You say, boy, I'm going to play like Dwayne, or I'm going to play like any of the Butchie Trucks or whomever, the drummer or whatever, whatever other guitarist. You just use your own style, or?
Well, what happens is once you realize you can't play like Dwayne,
Yeah.
then you kind of, goes into your own thing. You kind of
Right.
interpret it your own way and say,
Right.
I think this is what he was thinking.
Cool.
But that's
Cool.
pretty much it.
Now, do either of you do any writing? I know that I've seen you a few times, and you do some great covers. Have you done any writing, or is that something that's down the pipe for you?
Yeah, I've written about 300 songs, of which I've dumped 295. So yeah, I'm never quite happy enough with the stuff.
Do you have
I've
that
written.
trash bin? I'd like to go through that.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's-
there's some hidden gems in there.
So yeah, I'm really picky about how I write songs. I'm not really a poet, so but I've written some instrumentals that I've kept on board for many years. So
Cool.
those are some songs I like to.
What about you? You written anything?
Yeah, I've written some songs, a bunch of songs over the years. It's been a long time. And I play them mostly, I'll record them for my own pleasure and post
Right.
them on Facebook and whatnot. But
Right.
Mostly, when we're playing gigs, and I'm just like people out there. I love to hear really good tunes,
Yep.
and stuff I know and love.
Yep.
And so, we'll maybe throw an original song in here and there, but a lot of times, mostly our job is there to entertain people.
Yep.
So, and they want to hear Allman Brothers and
Yep.
all that stuff. So,
Right.
and that's cool, and I agree
Right.
with them.
Yeah.
So I do the original stuff on my own time.
Now, if I went out into your car and either put on your radio or pulled out a CD, what do you listen to when you're driving around and cruising around? Who's on the box?
It's interesting. Anything from Jeff Beck to Santana to Clapton. You just go through the whole litany, because if you listen to any one musician too much, you're going to end up sounding like them.
Exactly.
And you don't want to
exactly.
do it.
Right.
Well, again, besides the Allman Brothers,
Yeah, the Allman
my
Brothers.
biggest,
I think there's a trend here with Allman
Yeah.
Brothers.
Well, there is with me too. They were
Yeah.
the first band that really.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that
Oh, yeah.
got a
My
lot
head.
of people going, but no, I love the Eagles.
Yeah.
Nobody sings harmonies like the
Yeah.
Eagles. Oh, I love bands like War and
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that.
What about some of the old, the old classic stuff? I always like to throw out Roy Buchanan.
Yep,
Some of the
absolutely.
precursors of, a lot of people don't know Roy Buchanan. Some people don't know, Leo Kottke and
Absolutely.
all those kind of guys.
Yep.
Do you still listen to some of those people that kind of fly under the radar, or
Yeah, when
any
there's,
hidden gems out there that is not a household name that you might resonate for you?
Tom Rush. He's pretty
Oh.
well known, though. He was a big influence on me from first concert I ever went to.
I'll have to tell you a story about Tom Rush sometime.
Yeah, awesome
It's a
guy.
good one. I'll tell you a story
Awesome
about
guy.
that.
I
But
met
what
him
about
once.
you? What?
There's a local guy who's great, Johnny A.
Oh, yeah,
And
wow.
a lot of people have never heard of him. And I'm really surprised at that.
Playing with the Yardbirds right now. He's
Yeah,
filling in
that's
for
right,
the
yeah.
Yardbirds. Johnny
Wow.
A. I have some great footage of Johnny A. And actually, I believe I've shown it on one of my highlight shows with Johnny A. He's great. You have good influence there.
Yeah, I bought one of his guitars. I liked him so much. He has a
Wow.
signature Gibson guitar. So
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But as one of the things that always pops up on the show is time. And we're going to have a little bit of time because in addition to talking, you guys are going to do a little bit of playing today and
Right.
show off a little bit. But before we do that, you had mentioned that you had played at the Marshfield Fair, and I happened to be there, and you guys blew the house down. But you have another event that's kind of near and dear to both of our hearts that we're going to be involved with and you're going to play with. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, this is the second year that I'm a little bit involved with this fundraiser for opiate awareness.
Yes.
Cheryl Mazzetti is one of the key people that have putting everybody together.
Yep.
And they have a dozen musicians at 2 locations over 2 days, the 7th and 8th of October.
Yep.
And Bobby and I are going to be playing for maybe a half an hour on the Sunday
Yep.
day. And I know, Frank, you've been very involved. And I don't know if you didn't have a day job, you do have one now.
Well, I think we'd be remiss in leaving off some of the other members of our team. In addition to Cheryl, obviously the venues are the Next Page in Weymouth.
That's
and
right.
Eddie Page, who is also one of the originators of this event, and John Hall.
That's right.
Down in Pembroke. And John and Eddie have been very instrumental in putting this together and getting the bands together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a great 2 days of fun. You're going to hear great musicians like these two. We've got Anthony Gerasi. We've got
Duke Robillard.
Duke Robillard.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Aldous Collin Band. We have, you name it, we have it.
Ghost
and we're
Train.
going to Ghost Train. We're going to be talking more about that in our future shows.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be a great day. We're going to have a lot of food, a lot of great music, a lot of great raffles, and we're doing it for a good cause. This is our second annual opiate awareness event for musicians, and as we all know, everybody is touched by that.
Unfortunately.
And, we've
It's a
talked
great
about
cause.
that before.
Yeah,
and,
everybody's affected by it, Frank.
as I said, we're going to be talking more about that. But why don't you talk about some of the other places that you play? I always like to support our local venues, and I like to support the local musicians. Talk a little about where people can go and hear you play.
Well, one of the nicer places around, I think, is the Next Page.
No
Cafe.
question, Eddie
Yeah.
Page.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he does a good job with that place. It's very clean and
Absolutely.
respectable. And
And he's there, he's great to his musicians, he's
Yes.
really supportive
And the food's not
Treats
too
us-
bad either, with
Ah,
Rosa in
food's
the
good.
kitchen.
Yeah.
right from Italy. I'm glad she's back.
Amen.
And there were some other places. There were a couple of Chinese restaurants locally.
Yeah.
Great Chow.
Great Chow,
yeah.
and you play a lot of players.
Players, yeah.
with Jim Rockwell and the boys. You
Players is
play a
a,
lot over there.
Fun
great.
Sunday jam session they have there. They have a sound man. They have a B3 organ with the Leslie. So it's a lot of good talent there.
And we can't forget one of our besties, Della Erskine, in her jam on Wednesday nights over
Yep.
at the Banner.
Yep, that was good.
Steve is a staple over there, and I mean, if you ever, plan on taking some pictures and you need a professional photo bomber, there's the guy right there.
They'd never see me coming.
Yeah, he appears stealth. We should call him Stealth Tobias. What about some of the venues up on the North Shore?
Well, I'm fortunate that I get to play with a lot of different bands and stuff. But one of the bands I play full-time with is a band called Living on Luck.
Nice, I've heard of them, yep.
Work out of Rockport, and we play mostly in the Rockport and Gloucester area.
Great.
And keep me busy, and it's a lot of fun. I get
Cool.
to sing a lot of harmonies.
And you
And
make a lot of clams up there, don't you?
like a lot of clams, yeah. Absolutely.
Well, speaking of clams, we're going to have a couple of hams, get up there in a second and play a little guitar. So you're going to be playing a little bit of Van Morrison. You're going to play a little bit of
Greg Allman.
Greg Allman. Who'da thunk?
It's a good idea.
Who'da
a good
thunk?
idea.
Anything else that you might throw in, or you're going to surprise us?
Not sure if we even know what we're going to play, but we have some
Did we
ideas.
figure it out?
Welcome to the show. If there was ever a script that we had to follow, I think we'd fumble. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, rather than listen to us blab, sit back, relax, and strap yourself in, because you are going to listen to Steve Tobias and Bobby Cedrone of the Steve Tobias Band. Enjoy.
So, we talk so much about Greg Allman and the Allman Brothers, I think it's only appropriate that we do one, but I think we'll do one that's a little bit more obscure, I think from their first album,
take one last look before you leave. Oh, you know it means so much to me. Before you leave, just one thing you must be. Please go home to change your mind. I don't mind. No, I saw it coming day by day. Oh, I could not stand the failure. Before you leave, there's just one thing I must say. Please call home if you change your mind. Lord, I don't mind. Lord, I know you used to run it. You got on lying funny. Oh, when you come to reach me, baby, I come running straight to your side. Then I confide in you. Go ahead home, I won't say no more. My heart ain't in it, but I'll close the door. Just remember what I said before. Please call home to change your mind. Please call home to change your mind. Please call home to change your mind. It's a marvelous night for moon days, with the stars up above your eyes. A fantabulous night to make romance beneath the color of October skies. You know the leaves on the trees are falling to the sound of the breeze that blows, and I'm trying to please through the calling of your heart strength and voice off the low. You know the night's magic seems to whisper and hush. You know the soft light seems to shine in your blush. Can I just have a moment dance with you, oh my love? Can I just make some more romance with you? my love. Do me wrong, do me right, say goodbye, but hold me tight. Save your goodbyes for the morning light. Just don't let me be lonely tonight. Say goodbye and say hello. Sure enough good to see you, but it's time to go. Don't say yes, but please don't say no. I don't want to be lonely tonight. Go away and damn you. Go on and do as you please, yeah. You ain't gonna see me getting down on my knees. I'm undecided and your heart's been divided. You've been turning my world upside down. Do me wrong, do me right. Go on and tell me lies, but hold me tight. Save your goodbyes for the morning light. Just don't let me be lonely tonight, Mr. Steve. Turning my world upside down now. Do me wrong, do me right. Go on and tell me lies, but hold me tight. Save your goodbyes for the morning light, but don't let me be lonely tonight. Oh, don't let me be lonely tonight.
That
you.
was amazing.
Thank you, Frank.
You did not
Thank you,
disappoint.
Frank. Thank you. Thank
You
you very
did
much.
not disappoint. I mean, that was amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, I told you that you were going to be in for a treat, and you just were. But guys, as I mentioned before, time becomes our enemy towards the end of the show. Steve, why don't you take a second, if you want to give any shout outs to anybody or, say hello to anybody before we shut down here?
Well, I have to say hi, Mom.
Do you got to do the ear? Anything you want to say, whoever you want to say. If you just want to thank your mom, go for it.
If anybody wants to get in touch with us, if
Yep.
they like what we did today, then they can call my phone. I have a direct cell.
Cool.
And they can book us if they want.
Great.
Yeah.
Bobby, your turn, buddy.
Oh, God. I would have to thank my wife, who put up with me for like 36 years, I think, something like that. So, been my biggest supporter and always pushing me to do more, and I wouldn't be here without her.
Well, I wouldn't be here without guys like you who support this show, and I want to personally thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
It's this is a nonprofit station. This is my reward. I get to meet great guys, and I say that sincerely to everybody who comes on. I couldn't do the show without great guys like you.
Well, we've met a great guy, too.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Frank. Frank, I was hoping we could put a tip jar up, but I guess that's not going to work.
Well, we have one over there. We have a sitting audience here. Well, I thought some people
Settle
were
down,
going to
folks.
come, but hey, we had a little private show here. But folks, as always, I want to encourage you to go out and support your local venues. Go to the next page. Go to the banner. Go to Players. Go to Tavern 33. Go and support these people. These are the guys whom you're going to see, and many like them. You're going to see some of the best talent around, and oftentimes it's not going to cost you more than a slice of pizza or a soda, and you're going to see great talent. So, as always, I could not be able to do this show without my award-winning director, Miss Roxanne Morse, who pushes all the buttons and make us look and sound pretty. And I couldn't be able to do it without the support of everybody here at SMAC. So thank you all. And for my two guests, Mr. Steve Tobias and Mr. Bobby Cedrone, I am Frank Walsh. As always, tune in and tune on.